Before we get started, I just want to remind you to be sure to sign up for the 2020 Summer Reading Program. Imagine your story. Our reading program is provided each year to help deter summer learning loss for students and to foster the lifelong love for reading. We've got challenges for everyone in the family. You can read to win prizes. Woo! This year our program is going all digital. Download the Beanstack app on your mobile device or click Virtual Summer Reading Program link on our homepage to register. Thank you. Welcome to Grossology Magical Creatures. Today we are going to do some pretty fun stuff. We will learn about magical creatures, we'll guess a few of their poops, we will make a golem, and we will create our own magical creature. If you registered for this, you should have received a kit. Your kit will look something like this. I'm going to take everything out so you can see and make sure you got everything. You should have one bag full of clay, a container with glue, a popsicle stick for your glue, and then some papers. The papers included are a My Magical Creature sheet, 2 creature parts, and a folded sheet that explains about the magical creatures. All right, hopefully we have all that. Those will be things you will need today for our fun activities. What you may want to have at home, you could have, if you want, some colored pencils or some crayons. You might want some writing utensils. And you may want some scissors. Awesome. Okay, so first we're going to get started learning about our magical creatures. So I'm going to show you some big pictures of them and I'm going to talk about them. The explanations that I'm saying are all on your sheets. The magical creature sheet that looks like this, so you can follow along if you'd like. All right, the first magical creature we're going to talk about is the Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster is a magical creature from Scotland. For decades, people have tried to prove that a sea monster lives in Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. The most famous photograph of the Loch Ness Monster was taken by a London surgeon in 1934, but it turned out to be a hoax. The monster was made from a toy submarine. Have you heard about the Loch Ness Monster before? Yeah? Maybe? You might have heard about the next one. Next, we are learning about a phoenix. If you've seen the Harry Potter movies or read the books, you might know about a phoenix? Maybe? All right, let's learn a little bit about a phoenix now. A phoenix is a magical creature that's come from Egypt. Legend says the firebird could have lived for hundreds of years, but only one could exist at a time. This lone phoenix eventually flew to the Temple of the Sun to make a nest of cinnamon twigs. After the sun set, the nest on fire, a new phoenix rose from the ashes. So you can see in this picture, there's flames on the phoenix's wings. Essentially, a phoenix dies and is reborn from the ashes again. All right, next up is a Pegasus. You may have heard of these before if you read the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. You might not have. A Pegasus is a magical creature that comes from Greece. Pegasus was the famous winged horse of Greek mythology. He He carried thunder and lightning for Zeus, the king of the gods. Next up is a kraken. You might have heard of these if you watched Pirates of the Caribbean or if you play any pirate games. A kraken is a magical creature that comes out of Scandinavia. Scandinavian sailors told tales of a giant squid that lurked deep in the waters off the coast of Norway. The kraken was so large, over a mile around, that it created a whirlpool when it was submerged. Next up is the golem. The golem comes from Eastern Europe. In Jewish folklore, a golem was a clay monster brought to life to serve its master. Those creating a golem needed to be careful. Golems often became too powerful for their masters to control. All right, now this next one I'm sure you've all heard of. Can anybody say what that is? Is it a unicorn? Yeah, good job. A unicorn comes from Europe. Medieval Europeans believed that unicorn horns could be ground up to make medicines or dipped in drinks to detect poison. The horns were more valuable than gold, and Queen Elizabeth I had a unicorn horn among her crown jewels. So where did all these unicorn horns come from? They were most likely rhinoceros horns or the tusks of toothed whales called narwhals. The last one you've heard of too. They're very popular. What is this? Is this a dragon? Yeah, it is. Dragon mythology has come from Europe and Asia. Dragons appear in stories from across the globe. In European legends, dragons were dangerous creatures that hoarded treasure. In Asia, however, dragons were thought to be powerful and kind. They could breathe clouds, make rain, and change the seasons. All right, good job. So, we've learned a little bit about our magical creatures today. You're going to want to keep this magical creature sheet nearby because we are going to be guessing some magical creature poops. And you might need this as a reference. So make sure you keep it by and we will get started guessing the poops. All right, guys, this is the first poop. They're quite large. They are white and shiny and glittery. Do we have an idea who poops out these round glittery spheres? Do we think it's a golem? Who's made out of clay? No, probably not. What about a dragon? You think a dragon poops out these white glittery spheres? No. What about Pegasus, the white-winged horse from Greek mythology? Yeah? You think that they poop out these shiny white balls that match their shiny white fur? Yeah, good job. All right, next up is this. What is this? This is nasty looking. Oh, look at how slimy it is. It's white and slimy and it's got some red and pink bits in it. Ugh. What animal do you think this came out of? Do you think this came out of a dragon? Probably not. This is pretty liquidy. Ugh. A little slimy. Do we think maybe this came out of a creature that lives in water, perhaps? Because the water wouldn't really let the poop solidify like normal? Probably. All right, do we think this is the Loch Ness Monster's poop, or do we think this is the Kraken's poop? Well, if you thought it was the Kraken's poop, you are correct. Octopus and squid tend to poop out little ribbon-like trails of red and pink substances when they do the number 2. What about these? What about these guys? Oh, they're pretty solid. They're just little pebbles. What do we think about these? They're made out of a material that you might be familiar with in art class. You can make fun shapes with this. What do we think these are made out of? Is this clay? It is. So what mythical and magical creature do we think poops these guys out? The golem that's made out of clay? You are right. All right, what about this? These are some really thin, runny turds. And they've got some crazy colors in them. There's purple and blue and orange and green. What do we think made this kind of poop? Huh? Well, which animal has all of these colors? A unicorn? Yep, that's right. These are unicorn poops. What in the world is this? This is some thick, runny poop. It's got some flecks of green and black in it. It's kind of thinner around the edges and it's thicker in the middle. It's a little yucky. Does this poop remind you of any poops you've seen around town? Maybe on your parents' car or on your bike? It's a slow moving poop. It's runny though. Does it look like bird poop? Yeah, it does look like bird poop. So which magical creature do you think this came from? The phoenix? Yeah, the phoenix is a big bird from Egypt. It's a fire bird. And this is its big, slimy, thick poop. And this poop is beautiful. It's shiny and glittery. They're little flat turds. Oop. I don't want my poop to come off my plate. I don't want to have to clean it off my table. That will be icky. What creatures haven't we had yet? Let's go through that way. We haven't had poop from the Loch Ness Monster, and we haven't had poop from the dragon. Which do you think these poops are from? Do you think it's from the Loch Ness Monster? A water monster? Or do we think it's from a dragon? Dragons come in multiple colors. They have big scales that are shiny. They're winged beasts. Do we think these are dragon poops? You are correct. Good job, everybody. Way to know all about your dragon poops. All right. The next thing we are going to do is grab our clay, and we are going to make our own little golem. So, if you're doing this at home, you may want to put something down to protect your table. Parents. This is self-dry clay. It's air dry, So as soon as you're done, if you leave it alone, within 24 to 48 hours, it will dry and harden and you won't have to do anything, and then you'll have your golem for a long time. Before we get started on our golem, let's go over what a golem looks like one more time. This is a golem. They tend to have feet and legs and arms and a head, just like a person. So essentially what we're going to be making is a little clay monster and or person. I've set out some wax paper and I've got my clay. And I'm just going to do this very quickly. You can take however much time you want at home, really perfecting your golem. So I'm just gonna rearrange my clay, make a head part, make some arms, and some legs. So that's one way to work on making your golem. You can just shape your ball and then put it together to make the pieces you want. If you want it to be fancier than that, you can pull it apart and then roll it out to be the shapes you want. You can do it that way too if you want it to look a little smoother, but it is your golem, so you can make it however you like. Good job, guys. Make sure you remember to leave this set. You'll probably want to set it on its side while it air dries if you want to keep it for long term. The last fun thing we're going to do today is take our My Magical Creature sheet and we are going to create our own magical creatures. So for this, you can either use the pieces that we have given you to create a magical creature of your own with these, or if you want to, you have colored pencils or crayons or whatever you have at home, you can create your own by drawing them. So that is up to you. Once you're done creating your masterpiece, you're gonna come up with a name for your magical creature and a story, kind of like how we talked about the name and the story for the magical creatures earlier. Awesome. So I'm gonna do one really quick and show you and create a name, and then you can do one at home and show your parents or your siblings or your friends. So I'm gonna use our creature sheets. This creature sheet has more bodies, and this one has more appendages or other stuff. Now I really love these tentacles from the Kraken. I think those are super fun. So I am going to cut those out first because I think I want to use those for sure. Now, do I want to use anything else? You can use as many or as little items as you want. I think I'm going to use this unicorn horn as well. I'm going to set these to the side. and work on deciding where I want all my stuff. What I want to do for my magical creature is have it be this body, and then have it having tentacles come out of its head. I'm going to take my glue, and you can use your popsicle stick if you want. You don't have to. If you want to use your fingers, that's fine. Just make sure it's okay with your parents and that you don't make a total mess. I'll be a good teacher and use my popsicle stick. So I'm just going to grab some glue and just spread it on here. All right, once you have figured out what you want to use, you can glue your first item on if you're doing it this way. If you are creating your own, color it however you like. All right, now once that's there, you can get a better idea of where your other things need to be. Okay, so I have done my magical creature. It has a dragon body, and then tentacles on the head, and a unicorn's horn. So once you're done making your creature, you should come up with a name and its story. So, another mythical and magical creature is Medusa, who is a gorgon that comes out of Greek mythology, and she has snakes on her head. And I think having tentacles on your head is pretty similar. So I am going to name this Dragorgacorn, because it's a dragon, kind of like a gorgon, and a unicorn. So now I have to come up with Dragorgacorn's story. All right, this is my magical creature. My magical creature is Dragorgacorn. Dragorgacorn is from Turkey. It thrives in hot climates and must live by water to keep its tentacles moist. It looks scary, but it is a very loving creature that likes to splash around in water on sunny days. There is my magical creature, Dragorgacorn. I hope you guys have a blast making your magical creatures, and feel free to have your parents share them with the Westchester Public Library on our Facebook page. Thanks so much. Have a great time. I hope you learned a bunch about magical creatures, and we'll see you next time. See ya!